What's up, everybody? James Miles here, aka DFS Jimmy, across the Twitterverse, here with Tour Level Fantasy, and I'm going to take a couple of minutes and go through our full suite of sheets. This is everything that we offer in terms of our data and our sheets. We have 4 separate sheets for you to use, and they're a little bit different than what you might be used to seeing in the industry. We're pretty proud of that, actually, and we want to kind of walk you through what to expect and how to use our sheets, and how you're going to be able to use them a little bit differently than you might some others. So first, I'm going to start off. This is our tour model. If you used our sneak preview on the Euro side, this will look fairly familiar to you, but basically, this one is your full model generator. Normally, you would also have an extra column here for course history. Since we are at a brand new course this week in Eagle Point, there is no history, so I've gone ahead and cleaned it up and taken it out for you. You'll see right here there's normally a category for course history. I've gone ahead and taken that calculation out and made it so that it only rolls up based on your recent form and your stats. But long story short, in the tour model here, you have the ability to do and weight any stat however you would like. It's a pretty comprehensive list of all the stats from the PGA Tour for the most part. But really, to give you a little insight on the sheet, you got your DK salary, your golfer, your average DK points, their world golf ranking, their FedEx Cup rank, and then we get into the model. So normally you'll be able to weight your full course history and get your course history rank, your recent form rank, and your stats rank, and you're also able to weight each one of those on how you want them to total up to the full overall model rank, which is listed right here in column M. So interesting thing that we do is we allow you to weight individual weeks more or less based on how important you think that week is, for your model this week. Obviously, last week with the team event, we don't have any stats and we don't have a course history, but we wouldn't want to weight an alternate shot format into our recent form model anyway. But you do have the ability to do that since we had the Euro event last week and the team event I've gone ahead and taken out last week for you, so you don't have to worry about it. But as you can see, I've weighted the last 4 weeks prior to last week at 25% each. I feel like the most recent results are the most indicative, so that's why I weighted it this way. You'll notice that 50s in yellow, those are a non-played event, whereas 100s are a miscut, and everything else is as you would expect. Moving over, any of the orange categories, you can go ahead and put a stat rank in. As you put stat ranks in recent form, course history, you'll notice that these numbers, the 100s over here, will change. For example, if I take away the 25% here, you'll notice that that changes to a red 75, letting you know that your model is not complete. And if you put the 25% back in, hit enter, everything's good to go. So the sheet is live and it operates live in the website. So any changes you make to the orange cells should be immediately reflected in your sheet. And then you can sort by your overall rank. You can sort by any of the categories you would like by using your drop-down menus here. But going across, each category set is labeled under the stats. You got strokes gained, you got your driving, your ball striking, your approach, scrambling, putting, etc. All the way across. And as you can see, you can weight any of these whatever percent you would like. So let's say I take away this 10% here, you can see that our handy little calculator changes down to 90, letting you know your model is not correct. Add in 10% again, and we're good to go. So this is live. You can play with this and do everything you want. And step 2 to our sheets is once you've kind of played around with this and you got a feel for what you're going to do, we take it a step further and we go over to just the numbers, please. So in just the numbers, please, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's every stat you were looking at before with a rank, but instead of a rank, you're actually looking at their number. So for example, right here in driving distance, the driving distance for Dustin Johnson on average is 316 yards. So if we click back over to the tour model, we see that Dustin Johnson in driving distance is predictably ranked number 1. So we go to just the numbers, please, and we get an idea of what exactly the number 1 ranking means. How good is number 1? Well, number 1 is 316 yards, and that sounds great. What is that to the field average? Where does that rank to the rest of his competition in the week? And that's where just the numbers and beating the field average really comes into play, and it allows you to get a better idea of the golfers, the type of game, and more importantly, the relative difference in the skill levels between the golfers week to week. So if you look at the row 3 up here, all the numbers that run across, these are all field averages, meaning, for example, the field average driving distance distance for this week is 289 yards. So it gives us an idea that Dustin Johnson is he's pretty good 20, 25 yards, 30 yards ahead of, the rest of the field this week. And that's what it enables you to do. Everything is color coded by column to let you know relative difference. So as you can see, the guys with the 268, Jim Furyk is one of the shortest hitters in this field at 268 yards, and the difference between him and Dustin Johnson is significant. They will obviously be playing this course totally differently. But this allows you to really see what the differences are between whoever is ranked first and whoever is ranked less than first. Or in this case, let's take a quick look at Jim Furyk. And Jim Furyk, we know he is one of the shorter hitters on tour, but he's actually ranked 207th, which is, commensurate with his distance. But it's a pretty significant advantage for Dustin Johnson, obviously. And this allows you to kind of just see the differences between the players. And it's same thing as the other sheet. It's every category. You can sort them however you would like. And then moving over, this is where you can apply your research from both of those sheets to what's important for the field this week. What beating the field average does is it takes just the numbers and it bounces that rank or that number against their field average, and this spits out the difference. So what we're looking at when we're looking at this sheet for field average, in row 3, you have all of your field averages from the previous sheet that we just looked at, and now what we're looking at in the numbers here is the difference for each one of the players to the field average. So for example, Dustin Johnson is 27.1 yards longer than the field average. This is where the rubber really meets the road for decision making in my mind, because it allows you to do some things that you're not able to see with other stats. So for example, birdie or better, we can sort by the largest birdie or better differential to the field and get an idea of, if you're ranked first in birdie or better, how much better is that than the guy that's ranked 10th or 12th or 15th? Is it significant? It's significant enough to make a difference in their abilities this week, or is it minuscule? So for example, the rank between, or the differences between Dustin Johnson and Jon Rahm are negligible, but over the field average, they're 5.8% more likely to get a birdie than the field average is. The field average is at 20, and right now there's only 2 players that are more than 5% better, or 25%, in terms of the total, 25% better than the field average. Well, that's significant. And it allows you to sort and look at any of these different things. So you can see how much closer in proximity a guy is from 50 to 125 yards and see where the drop-off really is in the field. In this case, your guys with wedges are, there shouldn't be too much of a change because, you got a wedge in your hand, right? But we do see that being, on average, the field is 19.2 yards from the pin on approach between 50 and 125 yards, and this allows us to see who's the most efficient compared to the field. And we see that Wesley Bryan right now is the most efficient, and he is putting his approach shots almost 5 feet closer than the rest of the field, from 15 to 20 or 50 to 125 yards. What that means is, instead of being 20 feet, he's actually more like 15 feet. And when you apply your putt made percentages for the tour, that's a significant difference, right? That's a significant difference in scoring range and his percent probability to make a putt, compared to a guy that is 5 or 6 feet on average further away, like a Martin Flores or a James Hahn or a Sam Saunders, who are right even at field average. So this allows you to kind of find some people that, based on field average, should outperform the field in a given category each week, based on whatever you want to look at. So that's the way I like to use this sheet, and I'm sure you'll find some other uses for it as you get familiar with the tour level tools, our suite of analytical stuff, and you'll be able to develop your process, and more importantly, you'll be able to understand the player's overall games and strengths as you get more familiar. And that takes us into our last category, which is the rolling ranks. And what I've done here is these are power ranks for each category. You have a total roll up, you have power, you have accuracy, you have short game, and you have putting. And then these specific categories are represented over time in the last 5 weeks, the last 15 weeks, and the year to date. So based on if a guy hasn't played recently, the tour may not aggregate their stats or something like that. For example, Patrick Reed, he hasn't been playing recently, so the tour has left out his full last 5-week results. Same thing for like Scott Brown, Chris Stroud. They've played 2 events, but they haven't played a full set of 5 in the last 5 weeks. So the tour leaves their stuff out. But in what I've done here is I've taken it over time, so you can see the most recent, later, and then even later. So you should be able to get an idea of where a player is improving or deproving in a given stat category on the whole. So for example, and the other thing that I really like about this is it lets you see where a player's strengths lie in their game and where their weaknesses lie. So for example, Phil Mickelson's obvious weakness is accuracy. We know he's still got a decent bit of power at 7.9 in the green, especially for his age. He still hits it a long ways. His short game is phenomenal. That's why he's ranked in the green here with a 7.1. And he's been a great putter. He's got one of the better one putt percentages on tour, things like that. And we know that he knows how to score. He scores a crazy amount of DraftKings points all the time, right? He makes plenty of birdies. He makes plenty of bogeys. That's why he doesn't charge up leaderboards. But it's great for DraftKings scoring. In terms of accuracy, we know that that's where Phil struggles, right? Phil can find himself in the trees, a sand trap, 2 lakes, and finally make a par on any given hole. Really, Phil is literally all over the place. It surprises even him, I think, based on where he finds his ball sometimes. So that's the way I like to use the rolling ranks. And every player is in here. You guys, feel free to scroll around. You can see after last week, Jonas Blixt is got a hot putter. In the last 5, he's ranked in one of the tops in the field in putting. Obviously, with him and Cam Smith winning the event last week, you can kind of see how this works. In the last 5, he's certainly improved over his year-to-date results in the last 5, mainly because of last week. So it allows you to see a little bit of trend in here as well. And if a guy is just a little bit better recently than he has been year-to-date, might be a good idea to jump on him, especially if you see him getting better in the accuracy or the scoring columns. That'll tell you that his game is really starting to come around. But these are our 4 tools. Like I said, feel free to click around and sort by any means that you would like. We will be updating all of these with live FanDuel pricing as soon as that comes out this week. So right now, we just have the DraftKings pricing in there, and I expect once FanDuel releases that I'll get those prices in there either late tonight or probably tomorrow morning. But we'll have the full suite of FanDuel pricing for you as well for all you FanDuel players. But other than that, guys, we're excited about these tools for you. If you have any questions, please reach out to us on the website, on Twitter, direct message, whatever the case may be. If you have any questions, any concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out to myself or the Tour Level team, and we'll be happy to answer them for you. Looking forward to this week at Eagle Point. It's a brand new course. The yardage book this week's going to be phenomenal. Some great insider course stuff that you just can't get anywhere else. And then, of course, our Wednesday night winning element, we're really excited about this week. So really, in general, guys, it's a great week for us at Tour Level, and we hope that you really enjoy these tools and you enjoy the packages that we have to offer, and most importantly, enjoy fantasy golf this week, and best of luck to you.